The cosmos, vast and ever mysterious, had welcomed humanity into its fold with open arms, and so began the golden age of exploration and diplomacy. The Galactic Union, a collective of various alien civilizations, had long been allies of Earth, sharing knowledge and culture in a symbiotic coexistence. On the fringes of the Andromeda Galaxy, an envoy of humans, including a bright-eyed girl named Ilara, embarked on a mission of peace to a newly discovered planet. They were met by delegates of the Galactic Empire, a formidable power known for its stern governance. The meeting took place on a neutral moon, orbiting a planet of swirling blues and greens. The Union sought to bring the Empire into the fold, to expand the community and share the prosperity. Ilara, with her inquisitive nature, wandered the corridors of the alien complex, her eyes absorbing the strange symbols and the architectural marvels of the Empire's design. Unbeknownst to her, a ceremony was underway, one where a slight misstep could be seen as a grave insult. As fate would have it, Ilara, lost in wonder, stumbled into the sacred chamber. The gasps of the alien congregation echoed off the walls as the Imperial Guard, in a reactionary haste, struck her down, mistaking her curiosity for sacrilege. The humans were horrified. Their pleas for reason were drowned by the chaos of blaring alarms and the commanding shouts of the Empire's officials. The girl lay motionless, a silent testament to the precipice upon which peace now teetered. Word of the incident spread like wildfire, reaching the far corners of human space. Admiral Kerr, a veteran of interstellar diplomacy, sat in his office on Luna, the transcript of the disastrous event on his desk. His jaw clenched as he scanned the words that unraveled decades of trust. He knew what this could lead to. He also knew that somewhere, in the shadowy recesses of space, humanity had a secret, one that could change the course of their celestial destiny. It was time to unearth the past to safeguard the future. The stars looked on, indifferent to the brewing storm, as the Admiral rose from his chair. The galaxy had yet to understand the resilience of the human spirit, and Kerr was about to deliver a lesson written in the stars. The Galactic Union was in uproar. The halls of the Interstellar Assembly on Valtor III buzzed with heated debates and whispered fears. The death of young Ilara at the hands of the Galactic Empire's Guard had shaken the very foundation of the Alliance. Protests erupted across human territories, their cries for justice piercing the silence of space. Admiral Kerr stood before the Council, his voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of fury. He spoke of loss, of aggression, and the need for a response. But the Council, bound by protocols of peace and fearful of the Empire's might, hesitated. Their indecision was a cacophony that drowned out the cries for retribution. Meanwhile, shrouded in secrecy, the humans began their own machinations. Kerr received encrypted communications from Earth's Unified Defense, a coalition that had foreseen the need for strength in times of peace. There was talk of an ancient arsenal, a fleet of starships so advanced that they had been deemed too destructive to use, hidden away in the event of a dire threat. In the shadow of Jupiter's moons, Kerr rendezvoused with the architects of Earth's silent guardians. They unveiled the stasis fields, revealing the relics of a bygone era. The ships were behemoths, their hulls etched with the history of Earth's first interstellar age. They were a hidden force, preserved for a time when the survival of humanity depended on might rather than diplomacy. Kerr walked the empty corridors of the flagship, his hand brushing against cold metal that hummed with dormant power. He issued the command, and slowly the heart of the fleet began to beat once more. Lights flickered to life, engines stirred from their slumber, and systems long silent booted with the anticipation of an impending storm. Back on Earth, a clandestine meeting took place. World leaders and military minds converged, discussing the revelation and the formidable path ahead. The ancient fleet was humanity's hidden ace, and Kerr was to be its wielder. As ships powered up, hidden away from prying eyes, a plan began to take form. They would not allow the Union to dictate their fate. Humanity would stand tall, with or without the backing of their alien allies. And when the time came, the Galactic Empire would witness the awakening of a force unlike any other, born from the embers of an extinguished star. The sleeping giants were no longer just relics of the past, they were harbingers of the vengeance to come. The news of the ancient fleet's awakening had not yet pierced the public sphere, but within the clandestine circles of Earth's unified defense, the tempo was rising. Kerr orchestrated the resurgence with precision, each dormant vessel responding to the revival protocols like ancient warriors heeding a battle horn. He selected a crew for each ship, not from the usual ranks, but from among those who understood the gravity of their task. Scientists and soldiers, engineers and strategists, all united by a shared resolve. They were briefed in the shadowy depths of secret facilities, their eyes wide with the weight of their secret charge. Among the reawakened giants, the flagship stood a class apart. Named the Perseus, it was the epitome of human ingenuity and resolve, a ship that had once served as a deterrent against threats within and beyond the Milky Way. Its AI, Athena, stirred to consciousness, her systems interfacing seamlessly with the technology of a new era. Kerr stepped aboard the Perseus, the bridge sprawling before him like the command center of an ancient war deity. With a touch, he activated the holographic displays, star maps, and readouts blooming into existence. Athena's voice greeted him, a melodic contrast to the clinical tones of modern AI. "Welcome, Admiral. The Perseus stands ready," she announced, the underlying code of her speech patterns a blend of past and future. The crew members took their stations, each interaction with the ship's systems awakening ancestral memories of spacefaring. The Perseus was more than metal and circuitry. It was a testament to a time when humanity had reached for the stars with both hope and fear. As the fleet's engines warmed, casting a ghostly glow against the dark side of Jupiter, Kerr addressed his crew. His speech was brief, not of grandeur, but of necessity. "We sail into the unknown, not as aggressors, but as guardians. Our mission is clear: secure humanity's place among the stars with honor and determination." The Perseus led the charge, its massive frame gliding through space with an elegance that belied its size. Behind it, the relic fleet formed a phalanx, each ship a whisper from the past now roaring into the present. The stars watched in silence as the fleet passed, the very fabric of the universe seeming to hold its breath. The engines flared brighter, a silent declaration that humanity, while cherishing peace, was ready to defend its children, its future, its right to exist in the vast cosmic tapestry. And with that, the relic fleet vanished into the depths of space, a specter no more, but a vengeful spirit roused from slumber. As the relic fleet cut a swath through the star-speckled darkness, back on Valter III, the facade of diplomacy was crumbling. The Galactic Union's assembly was a hive of discordant voices, each representative entangled in a web of argument and accusation. The Empire's delegates stood stoic, their silence an unspoken challenge to the seething outrage of the human sectors. Admiral Kerr watched from the Perseus, his gaze hardened by the flickering images of the assembly. The Union's indecision was a poison, paralyzing any hope of collective action. The moment to strike was slipping away, and with each passing second, Elara's death risked becoming just another forgotten tragedy. Earth's ambassadors, weary from the fruitless debates, withdrew, their exit a silent protest against the Empire's arrogance. Kerr, having foreseen such an outcome, gave the order. It was time to show the Union that humanity's patience had its limits. In the void, the ancient ships began a synchronized maneuver. With the grace of celestial dancers, they fanned out, forming a constellation of defiance. Athena, her voice now laced with the gravity of impending conflict, confirmed the readiness of the fleet. Kerr's finger hovered over the console, the fate of billions resting upon his decision. Then, with the quiet assurance of a man who had known war and wished it upon none, he pressed forward. The relic fleet, responding to his command, surged towards the edges of Union space. The move was bold, a deliberate provocation that would either force the Union's hand or push the Empire into open conflict. Across human territories, the news of the fleet's advance spread like a rallying cry. Kerr's name was whispered in reverence, a harbinger of the Empire's reckoning. For too long, humanity had bowed to the might of others, but now they stood united, their resolve crystallized into action. The ships entered the disputed zone, a vast expanse of space claimed by the Empire but contested by the Union. It was a no-man's land where the slightest incursion could ignite a war. The Perseus, with its ancient silhouette, was the first to breach the invisible boundary, its presence an undeniable statement of intent. Kerr's eyes remained fixed on the view before him, where the cold vacuum of space was alive with the possibility of battle. In the heart of the relic fleet, humanity had found its sword and shield, and with them, they would carve a path to retribution, or to peace forged from the crucible of resolve. With the relic fleet stationed at the disputed zone's edge, an eerie calm settled in space. The Galactic Empire had responded with silent warships that hung in the void like sentinels. Both factions stood at a stalemate, their ships facing each other across the cosmic gulf, a tableau of tension and anticipation. Admiral Kerr, aboard the Perseus, was not one to let the silence suffocate his strategy. He initiated covert communications with other civilizations within the Union. His message was simple yet profound. The Empire had overstepped, and now was the moment for those oppressed to find their strength in unity. The response was more fervent than Kerr anticipated. The Tetraquids, beings of pure energy, were the first to pledge their allegiance. Then the Aquarians, masters of water worlds, signaled their support, their fleets ready to rise from the depths. The Krylax, avian warriors of great honor, joined, their wings ready to soar into the fray. As allies rallied, the Perseus became the command hub for a growing armada, an alliance forged not from convenience, but from a shared desire for sovereignty. Kerr, though hardened by battle, felt a surge of pride. The human spirit had ignited a fire, and now that blaze spread, a beacon to all who yearned for freedom. In the dark expanse between the fleets, a skirmish broke out. A vanguard of Empire drones probed the Alliance's resolve, and they were met with ferocious resistance. The Tetraquids, harnessing raw energy, shattered the drones with bursts of incandescent fury. The Aquarians, fluid and relentless, dismantled the enemy's flanks, while the Krylax descended upon the remnants with avian ferocity. This first engagement, though minor, was symbolic. It demonstrated the combined might of the Alliance and the efficacy of the ancient fleet. Kerr orchestrated the battle from within the Perseus, Athena relaying his commands with an almost prescient accuracy. The victory, while small, rippled through Union space, a clarion call to other civilizations that the time to stand was now. The Empire's sentinels, once immovable, shifted uneasily. The Union's assembly, once a cacophony of indecision, watched in stunned silence. The undercurrents of change were palpable, and the relic fleet, humanity's forgotten sword, was now the vanguard of a revolution that spanned the stars. As the Alliance grew in strength, so did Kerr's resolve. The death of one human girl had awakened the sleeping giants of history, and now those giants marched not just for revenge, but for a future where no voice within the Union would ever again be silenced by tyranny. The Allied fleets had grown into a formidable force, a diverse armada poised on the brink of full-scale war. As their numbers swelled, so too did their confidence. The Galactic Empire, sensing the shifting tides, deployed their Behemoth, a massive flagship that was both a fortress and a symbol of imperial power. Admiral Kerr, analyzing data streams on the Perseus, knew that the confrontation with the Behemoth was inevitable. It was not just a battle for territory, but a fight for the very soul of the Galactic Union. The Allied forces were not just fighting for retribution for Alara. They were battling for the principle of justice and freedom. The Perseus led the charge, flanked by the Tetraquid energy cruisers and the Aquarian submersible carriers. As they approached the Behemoth, the space between filled with the harsh staccato of blaster fire and the haunting glow of energy weapons. The battle had begun in earnest, and the cosmos itself seemed to hold its breath. Kerr coordinated the movements from the bridge, his eyes locked on the holographic displays that showed the dance of war in real time. The Krylax fighters swooped through the Empire's formations, their movements as graceful as they were deadly. The Aquarians unleashed torrents of molecularly charged water, short-circuiting the Empire's smaller vessels. The Behemoth responded with devastating firepower, its cannons unleashing waves of destructive energy. Kerr maneuvered the Perseus into the fray, the ancient ship's shields glowing as they absorbed the onslaught. Athena, ever calm amidst the chaos, deployed countermeasures, launching drones that disrupted the Behemoth's targeting systems. The Tetraquids, in a display of raw power, converged their energy into a single, blinding beam that pierced through the Behemoth's armor. The giant ship shuddered, wounded but still formidable. The Alliance's smaller ships seized the opening, swarming around the Behemoth like a cloud of vengeful spirits. Kerr gave the order, and the Perseus unleashed its full arsenal. The ship, a relic of a past age, demonstrated that the technologies of yesteryear were not to be underestimated. It fired a barrage that further weakened the Behemoth's defenses, opening a path to its core. The battle raged on, stars eclipsed by the explosions of dying ships. The Behemoth, crippled but not yet defeated, fought back with desperate fury. Kerr, sensing the moment of victory was near, prepared for the final assault. This skirmish, one of many in the vastness of space, was more than a clash of ships. It was the embodiment of the struggle between a repressive regime and the unyielding spirit of those who yearned to breathe free. As the Behemoth's lights began to flicker, signaling its impending doom, Kerr knew this victory was but a prelude to the greater war that lay ahead. The destruction of the Behemoth marked a turning point in the conflict. With the Galactic Empire's flagship in ruins, a clear message was sent across the cosmos. The alliance led by humanity was not just a fleeting rebellion, it was a formidable force, reshaping the political landscape of the galaxy. As the debris of the Behemoth drifted through space, Admiral Kerr and his allies planned their next move. The alliance, bolstered by their victory, set their sights on the Empire's core systems, the very heart of their power. This audacious plan was not merely about conquest, but aimed to dismantle the authoritarian regime and replace it with a governance that valued freedom and justice. The journey to the core systems was fraught with danger. The Empire, though reeling, was far from defeated. They fortified their remaining strongholds, deploying their advanced warships and setting traps in the nebulous territories that bordered their domain. Kerr, aboard the Perseus, led the fleet through these perilous regions. The ship's ancient systems, upgraded with the latest technology, detected and navigated through the minefields and ambushes set by the Empire. Each encounter tested the resolve and ingenuity of the Alliance, and with each skirmish, the bonds between the disparate members of the Alliance grew stronger. As they penetrated deeper into the Empire's domain, Kerr faced not only the external threats of battle, but also internal strife. The Alliance, diverse in its composition, began to show cracks. Differing ideologies and strategies for the post-war future caused tension, threatening to unravel the unity they had fought so hard to build. Kerr, aware of the fragile state of the Alliance, called a council aboard the Perseus. Representatives from each member civilization gathered, their figures casting long shadows in the dim light of the war room. Kerr addressed them, not as a commander, but as a peer, urging them to remember why they had joined forces. The memory of Alara, and the countless others who had suffered under the Empire's tyranny, was a potent reminder of their common cause. The discussions were intense, each leader voicing their fears and hopes. In the end, a renewed commitment to their shared goals emerged. The Alliance, strengthened by their resolved differences, approached the Empire's capital, a sprawling metropolis orbiting a dying star, a symbol of the Empire's fading glory. The final battle was imminent. The Perseus and its allies prepared for what would be their most challenging confrontation. Kerr knew that the outcome would not just determine the fate of the Empire, but would define the future of the Galactic Union. As the Alliance's ships aligned for the assault, Kerr looked out at the stars. He thought of Earth, of Alara, and of the countless generations to come. With a steady hand, he gave the order to advance, ready to end the tyranny that had plagued the galaxy for too long. The heart of the Empire awaited, and with it, the chance to forge a new era of peace and freedom. The battle for the Empire's capital was a maelstrom of light and fury. The Alliance's fleet, led by the Perseus, surged forward, a unified force of diverse civilizations united under Admiral Kerr's command. The Empire's defenders, desperate to protect their seat of power, unleashed a barrage of firepower that turned space into a deadly canvas of exploding starships and cascading debris. As the Alliance's ships pierced the Empire's defenses, Kerr focused on the primary objective, the Imperial Palace, a massive structure orbiting the dying star, symbolizing the Empire's decaying authority. It was here that the Empire's leader, Emperor Vorian, commanded his forces, determined to crush the rebellion that threatened his rule. Kerr knew that capturing Vorian was crucial to ending the war swiftly and with minimal further bloodshed. The Alliance's plan was daring, a direct assault on the palace itself. The Perseus led the charge, its ancient hull scarred from countless battles, yet still formidable. The final approach was harrowing. The Empire's elite guards targeted the Perseus, their weapons designed to penetrate even the toughest armor. But the ship, guided by Athena's precise calculations and Kerr's experienced hand, maneuvered through the onslaught, its cannons returning fire with devastating accuracy. As they breached the palace's defenses, a small team of specially trained soldiers led by Kerr himself boarded the structure. The corridors of the palace were a labyrinth of opulence and power, each turn bringing them closer to the throne room and to Vorian. The confrontation was intense. Vorian, armed and clad in ceremonial armor, was no mere figurehead, but a warrior king who had ruled with an iron fist. The battle between him and Kerr was not just physical, but symbolic, each blow echoing the deeper conflict between tyranny and freedom. Finally, Kerr disarmed Vorian, the Emperor kneeling, defeated not just by Kerr, but by the collective will of the galaxy that had turned against him. The arrest was broadcast across the galaxy, signaling the end of the Empire's reign. With Vorian in custody, the Alliance quickly moved to dismantle the remaining Imperial forces. Leaders from across the Galactic Union arrived to discuss the formation of a new government, one that would ensure such tyranny never arose again. As peace was declared, a solemn ceremony was held in memory of Alara and all those who had fallen. Her name became synonymous with the fight for justice and the spark that had ignited the galaxy into action. Kerr, hailed as a hero, chose this moment to step down from his role, believing that the future should be shaped by new hands and new ideas. The story concluded with Kerr returning to Earth, looking up at the stars from where he had come. The galaxy was forever changed, and though peace was often a fragile thing, the spirit of unity that the conflict had fostered promised a brighter future for all.